Have you ever tried to capture the entire soul of a novel? I mean, everything, on just a single sheet of paper? Not just the plot, but its heart, its conflicts, its biggest ideas? I know, it sounds pretty much impossible, right? But there's this amazing method that turns literary analysis into a real work of art. Today, we're going to dive into this creative blueprint known as the one sheet. It's a real challenge, isn't it? You know that feeling? You finish a book that just completely moves you. But then, when you try to explain why it was so good, you struggle. How do you possibly boil down hundreds of pages of story and characters and big ideas into one single powerful statement that really captures that feeling? Well, guess what? There's a really powerful and, honestly, super creative answer to that question. It's a method designed to transform how you understand a book into something you can actually see and touch. So let me introduce you to the one sheet. So, what exactly is a one sheet? Well, at its core, it's a single page response to a book. But let's be super clear. This is not your typical book report summary. Think of it more like a visual argument, a creative tapestry that you weave together with your own writing, intentional color choices, and your own unique design. The whole point isn't just to prove you did the reading, but to build a way deeper, more personal connection with it. And this, right here, gets to the heart of why the one sheet is so cool. It's built on this really simple but profound idea. We learn best when we're able to create our own connections to the material, not just memorize what someone else tells us. This whole project isn't just about analyzing a book. It's a tool to help you build those personal bridges. Okay, so how do you actually build one of these things? The best way to think about it is like a recipe. You've got a few core components, or let's call them creative ingredients, that you're going to combine to make your final masterpiece. We're going to break down 5 of these essential parts: the meaningful images that symbolize the story, the insightful questions that you're going to ask, the powerful quotes you'll pull right from the text, the personal connections you'll make, and finally, the foundational design elements that, tie the whole thing together. First up, meaningful images. This is where you get to be the visual storyteller. Okay, for a second, forget about writing. How would you show the book's main conflict? What single image could possibly capture a character's entire journey? That's what we're talking about here. The key here is that you've got to create at least 3 images, and they can't just be random doodles. Each one needs to be totally intentional. It needs to represent a core theme, a key character, or that central conflict. Really, they're like the visual anchors for your whole project. Okay, so once you've got your visuals, it's time to switch gears and ask some really smart questions. Because a great one sheet doesn't just give you all the answers. It asks the kind of questions that make you, and anyone who sees it, think a little deeper. Now, this part is crucial. You absolutely have to avoid those simple yes or no questions. Instead, you're asking the big how and why questions, the kind that really make you dig back into the book and find that proof, that text evidence to back up what you're saying. All right, next up, you've got to let the book speak for itself. And that means carefully picking out quotes that are so powerful, so important, that they're pretty much the backbone of the entire story's message. And listen, the details really matter here. You need at least 3 of these powerhouse quotes, but it's not about just picking sentences that sound nice. They need to be absolutely essential to the story. And, there's the kicker, you've got to cite them properly using MLA format. This is where you get that perfect mix of pure creativity and, solid academic work. Okay, this next ingredient, this is what makes the one sheet yours. This is where you come into the picture. It's all about building a bridge between the world of the book and your own life, your own experiences. Just take a look at this example of a really strong connection. See, it's not enough to just say, oh yeah, I relate to that character. You gotta dig deeper and explain how and why. Notice how it links that specific feeling in the book, feeling lost, to a real, concrete personal memory. That's the magic. That's what makes it a real, meaningful connection. All right, last but not least, let's talk about the foundation that holds all this amazing stuff together, the design itself. Your whole page is the canvas, and I mean you should fill it edge to edge. A thematic border, made out of words or symbols, or even more quotes, helps pull the whole project together. And the book's title and author, don't just slap them on at the top. You gotta integrate them creatively into the design so they stand out. Okay, so you've got your ingredients ready to go, but how do you actually mix them all together without making a mess? let's go over some pro tips for filling that canvas, the crucial do's and don'ts for really mastering this thing. All right, here's a quick cheat sheet for you. On the do side, absolutely use lots of color and texture, fill the entire page, and always cite your evidence. But the don't list, just as important. Don't just summarize the plot, don't leave any blank white space, and whatever you do, don't forget those citations. Remember, the whole point is to analyze, not just give a play-by-play of the story. And hey, one last super simple but absolutely critical detail. Your name and class period go on the back. Trust me, after all that work, you definitely want to get credit for your masterpiece. So you've gathered all your ingredients, you've followed the pro tips, you've poured your creativity onto the page. What's the end game here? What are you actually trying to achieve with this thing? Okay, the big goal here is to create what is basically a visual thesis statement. Think about that. Your one sheet should be a tangible piece of your unique understanding of the book. Seriously, someone should be able to just look at it for a few seconds and get it. They should instantly understand a major theme or a deep insight about the book, all communicated through your amazing creative choices. And that's really the heart of it all. This isn't some boring assignment where you have to check off a bunch of restrictive boxes. No, it's a real invitation to just play, to explore, to experiment, and to let your creativity run wild. So really, the only question left is the one you got to answer for yourself. When you find that book that just clicks with you, that one that really means something, what story is your one sheet gonna tell? The canvas is blank, and the possibilities, well, they're endless.